there was always a tug of war between, what do I do with my pay yourself money? Like, is that something I should be spending, or should I just be saving it? And so that was very unclear. So today we're going to go in depth on this. So, strategy for guaranteeing increase in monthly income and net worth, because we don't want to go through life not experiencing what life has to offer. And life has a lot to offer when you're continuously increasing your monthly income and your net worth. If you're not increasing your income, but you're putting a lot of money into the growth fund, then something is inherently wrong. The growth fund is only for increasing your income, but you get what you invest in. So if you're not putting anything in the growth fund, you can't expect that your income is going to increase either. So what I've written here is your biggest expense will always be your lack of increased income. And what that means is there's a story of someone who did a seminar on wealth creation, and he asked someone in the audience how much they were making per year, and if they were willing to share that. And they shared it, and they said it's approximately $50,000 a year. And then he wrote a big 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 on the board, which is $1 million. And then he put 50,000 below it. And then he said that you are losing $950,000 a year. And that is your biggest expense, not your taxes, not your house, not anything else. And so how true is that? Could you make $1 million? Is there some potential that there are some skills that we're lacking that causes us to not to make $1 million? Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. If you've got the skills to make $1 million, you will make $1 million. And the only reason why we're not there yet is because we don't have the skills yet. So we have to invest in it. And this is the most important of all the accounts you own. If you don't risk anything, you risk even more. All right, number 2, reserves. Now, this is your net worth. They always say that your assets minus your liabilities is your total net worth. So what does that mean? Well, your assets is something that puts money into your pocket, and liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. And so your reserves is then what you should be putting in your assets. You want your assets to grow, that's where you put it. It's part of reserves, not part of growth fund. So the growth fund is for you to increase in skills. You are your biggest investment, not Bitcoin, not cryptos, not banks for that matter, not gold, silver, none of that stuff. We're trying to grow you because you are the absolute biggest asset you possibly got. So reserves for now should go into more non-risky investment. So for you, that might be just keeping it stashed in the bank. Or for others, it might be, you know what, I don't trust the bank, so I'll just put all of my reserves in Bitcoin or something else, or buy gold, for example, like Adam says. So, but this is your do not touch money. This is something that you're continuously dollar cost averaging into, and you are not going to take anything out of it. And if there's success or failure in your business, your net worth or what you're putting into your reserves should continuously be increasing every single month because your income is increasing every single month. And this should only ever be used for real life threatening emergencies. That's what I call it. Okay, this is not for when your washing machine, suddenly stops working or your car breaks down or something like that. These are actual reserves that you keep wherever you stash them, and you don't touch them before you arrive at $10 million. I heard that quote from someone named Hanner Chidester, who said that you should set the goal of $10 million, not just $1 million. Set the goal of $10 million. And the reason why is because if you just think of the S&P 500, and you just took that as an example, it usually grows by approximately 10% per year. It's really hard to spend $100,000 a month, is what he said. Really difficult, especially if you're continuously trying to make money. And so if you have $10 million and 10% increase per year, that's $1 million. That's $1 million that you can spend every year, 100K every single month. So I thought that was a pretty good point. All right, we'll get back to that in a second. Number 3 is optimal living. These are maintenance expenses. You definitely need money for rent, utilities, transportation. Choose a comfortable amount for these monthly expenses and stick to this specific amount. Even though your income is growing, even though it's 10xing, even though you're increasing the amount of reserves that you've got, choose a comfortable amount for your monthly expenses right now, and then stick to this specific amount no matter how much your income is growing. Now, this takes discipline because most people, when they make more money, they want to increase their standard of living. Oh my gosh, I finally am making more money. Now I can spend. Now I can do this. Now I can do that. Let's travel the world, shall we? And take 1 year long vacation. Not recommended. And the reason why is because you do not want to go back to where you were. Very often the thing that happens when you are making a lot of money, you're doing something to grow your money. And the reason why people stop growing their money is because they go back to doing the things that they used to do when they weren't making money. And that's when the money is taken away. So you want to keep doing the thing that's actually working, and that's you working, instead of not working. It kind of makes sense. You want to arrive at a specific income and net worth before you increase your monthly expenses. So let's say, for example, you want to get to, if you're spending 2K per month right now, and you're making 3 or 4K per month, let's say you get to 10K. As a celebration, you're going to increase your lifestyle inflation by 50%. Let's go. That means that you're spending now $3,000, but you've got this massive cushion that can go back into growing your income and growing your reserves and your net worth. And as a result, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to start making 20K a month. And now you could be like, oh, holy crap, I made more money. I can increase my expenses now to $4,000 a month or $5,000. So use every single level that you get to as a reward opportunity, but not before you make those real digits. Like you making 4K or 5K extra per month, like you can't increase your expenses to 3 or 4K at that point. You're like, there's so much potential if you actually invested correctly. And then you've got the woohoo money. Now, this is what Jefferson last time I was speaking about this, he was like, wait, wow, you mentioned fun money. That's something I haven't heard Joseph say ever. I don't know if that was Jefferson or someone else.
That's right.
Right. And I was like, yeah, because you do not want to wait until the destination to enjoy the journey. Every single part of your life should be awesome. Can we also enjoy some of the money? Like some of it, a little bit? I think so. And so what I think, or what I'm suggesting is you choose a specific monthly amount for woohoo money, for local transactions like outings with family, friends, luxuries that you desire, supporting others, etc. I don't recommend this to be a very high percentage. It could be 5% of your income or 1% of your income. Okay, but just choose a percentage and stick to it so that you can actually enjoy some of the money that you're making. And you know, it's up to you. You decide. But a caveat is traveling and vacations have a double cost because of interrupting consistency. A lot of people take vacations once they start making money and they spend their money. Now, there's nothing wrong with spending money. There's nothing wrong with taking a vacation. The only problem is timing. It's the same thing with girlfriends, same thing with any other large expense. It's a timing thing. And if you're interrupting consistency, it's like the airplane on the tarmac and you're like, and you want to slow down right before you take off. And then you slow down again right before you take off. It's just unnecessary. So I don't recommend traveling. For a long period of time, we did no travels. We had 5 years where we stayed in Tbilisi, where I live, without traveling at all. And that was part of the plan. We didn't go anywhere. And that allowed us to go to Norway last summer, and we enjoyed a full month of traveling and seeing family, etc. But yeah, don't ruin your consistency. And then if you do save up long term, then you get to reach bigger milestone for an awesome vacay. So a lot of this stuff you guys have heard before. And so now I'm going to share with you guys something that I haven't shared when it comes to this. And it is this one. How should you actually divide this up? Take a screenshot or watch this recording again and again and again so you understand it, because it's crucial. All rich people do this. All rich people do this. And your business is a reflection of your personal finances. So if your personal finances are not streamlined and they're not flowing in each of their directions in their proper order, the way that it's supposed to go, your business is going to be trash. Because guess who has control over the money in your business? You do. So if your personal finances are trash, your business finances are going to be trash. But if they're fantastic, your business finances are going to be fantastic. And that's the number one reason why businesses go out of business. I personally believe that it's actually their work ethic, but the second part of it is lack of cash flow. So if you combine two things that we master in OnTrack, which is work ethic, 80-hour work week, and number two, cash flow, you mastered business. Okay, so let's go into the details. You can have two banks. You can have one bank. You can have 5 banks. You can have however many banks you want. I only have one bank, Joseph. I don't know what you're talking about. Start with 4 banks. It's not difficult to open up bank accounts these days. There's fintech companies. There's crypto companies that are saying you can hold your crypto here. There's a lot of different things that you can do for your bank strategy, but trying to keep it simple. You have a max of 3 debit cards, and I also recommend a hardware wallet if you're going to invest in cryptos or Bitcoin, etc. So let's go through this. You get your paycheck twice a month or once a month. It goes into a bank, most probably, because that's what your employer normally needs in order for them to pay you. And we call this the clearing account. This is what should be at 0 at all times, except for on paycheck day. And what is meant by that? We're having a clearing account so that you can make sure that you actually do this. Because the vast majority of the time, what happens when you receive your money on your account, you start paying bills. You start paying rent because you are almost a little bit overdue, and you start paying bills and things also you have to eat. You have to eat, so you got to go out and do that, and you go shopping, and it becomes a mess because you forgot to pay yourself first, and suddenly you're doing a lot of other stuff. Imagine instead if it comes into your clearing account and the goal is to now distribute to where their money needs to go. That makes it so much simpler for you to keep an overview and decide in advance how much money should go where. And that's why this account should be 0 at all times, except for paycheck day. So if you do this, if that's the only thing you do, having this clearing account is going to solve everything for you. Okay, so what do? Well, we talk about growth fund. Spend it all to increase income, coaching, mentoring, communities, programs, tools, employees, business investments, portfolio increase, yada, yada. Here's one of your cards. You need to have a debit card for this. And why? Because you're going to have to pay for some things. Coaching, mentoring, you're supposed to spend this money. And so if you have a card, you can spend that money. And one example is, of course, OnTrack, but any other business, you can do that as well. Okay, so the others are the hardware wallet. I recommend Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'm not necessarily recommending that now. I mean, a lot of crypto guys in this group would say, hey, bro, like this is the perfect time. I mean, bro, Trump has a crypto plan, bro. Let's go. We can, take this to the moon in 2025. And yes, there is a higher probability chance that things will go up, but there's always a chance that things will massively crash because we are at the end of the bull run. So I'm not saying buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, but if you were to do that, you would need a hardware wallet. Or you can have gold, silver, cash and vault, or buy treasuries, different things. But the reason why I say an own bank or an own reserve somewhere is you want this one to be out of sight, out of mind. You never want to see how much you have of it, except for once a month when you are reporting your net worth. But you don't want to see it ever other than that. You check it once a month. Oh, that's my net worth. Great. Okay, and the next two, you have a card for optimal living, and then you've got a card for Woohoo Money. So maximum 3 cards. You keep it very simple. When you want to have fun, you use the fun card. When you want to just pay for regular expenses, you use the optimal living card. By the way, we can choose a different word for O, by the way. I don't know. Optimal living is too long. But if you guys come up with a different O or a different acronym, let me know. And then you of course want a card for this one. So 3 cards, 1 hardware wallet, and 4 banks. 1 for the clearing account, 1 for this, 1 for this, and 1 for this. When it comes to money, you need 4 banks. The more discipline you've got, the less banks you need. You could use an app called YNAB. It's called You Need a Budget. It costs about $100 a year, or $15 a month. But they use an envelope strategy, which means that you can just have 1 bank account and then you segment everything in the app itself. But I personally think you're too close to your money. So that only works if you have a lot of self-discipline. You always need to remember the 4 different parts: growth, reserves, optimal living, and Woohoo Money. Choose your percentage. Like, what should the percentages be? There are some rich people, like, for example, the Tanner Chizester dude that I mentioned earlier. He only spends 5% of his income. And so his income massively stacks continuously, right? And Shaq, he also says one time he said, when he was talking to a billionaire in the beginning of his NBA career, he said, so how do you divide up your money when you get paid? Well, rich people, they put 50% into growing their assets and their income, and 50% to spending their money. But the super wealthy people, they put 75% towards growing their income and assets, and 25% to spending money. So you decide your own percentages. That was what I want to share with you guys today.